Good evening. We're going to open with a public hearing to discuss the road improvement and obtain comments regarding the proposed use of the municipal road aid fund. This has to do with the paving of, which the list will be online tomorrow, for all the roads will be paved in Dayton. So if you have any comments, you can speak at this time on that.
Keep paving them, you're just making the holes smaller. You're making the sewers smaller is what you're doing. We don't need smaller sewers, we need bigger sewers.
Are you talking about on the?
I'm talking about all around through Dayton. If you ride around, what they're doing, they're blacktopping, then they're salt cutting it out, making the hole about that big. They ain't big enough.
The one up on the underpass, I think we need to get the water company or sanitation up there because there is no. Yeah.
This has to do with
reason.
hold on. This has to do with the paving, the road paving for now. This is all it is. That we have to do a public hearing to say that we're putting up road. If you want to discuss the flooding, you have an opportunity right after we open the meeting. This is just a public hearing.
Okay.
Anyone else have anything to say about this?
You said it'll be listed on the internet tomorrow?
Yes.
Is anybody privy to that before you all vote, so they can say if there's an issue with the street that they'd
This
like
is not,
to?
There's no vote.
There's no vote on this. This is just a public hearing.
No vote?
Right.
Are they grinding off the road or just going right over top of it?
No, we always mill.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Michael, if I may, with the reduction in state funding on this, this is taking our original 500,000 down to roughly 94,000, is that correct?
Well, so the disregard, the number that was emailed to you all is just my estimate based on what I think the market rates are. It's irrelevant, the cost right there is irrelevant. We won't know the actual cost until the company's actually bid on the project. So you can ignore that. But to answer your question, so right now we have a balance of about $245,000 in municipal aid. We had budgeted about $605,000 coming in, $500,000 of that being some state-approved money that Dennis Keene had gotten us. And when we passed the budget, that was still in effect. It wasn't long after the budget was passed that the state put a kind of a stop on anything that wasn't emergency related. So that $500,000 at best won't even come for another year or so. So you're thinking we're really only working with about $105,000 of revenue coming in from municipal aid instead of the $605. So that being said, we have $245 now. Expected balance at the end of the year, if nothing is done, would be around $320,000. So my hope is to keep this paving at around $145,000 is our hope. Now, we won't know that until the bids come in, but that's kind of my hope.
So 325 until the end of this fiscal year, until next June.
Yeah, we'll bring an additional $105,000 to what we have now.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Public hearing is closed. Roll call, Tom.
Mayor Brusky.
Here.
Member Neary.
Here.
Member Burns.
Here.
Member Tucker.
Here.
Member Baker.
Here.
Member Gifford.
Here.
Member Lynn. City Administrator Giffen.
Here.
City Attorney Ed.
Here.
Okay, welcome to the August 2nd, 2016 council meeting. All rise for prayer and pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we have audience participation. Anyone who wishes to address council can stand up at the podium, give your name and your address, and then state what you have to say to the council.
This has got the sewers?
Anything you want.
All right. My name is Greg Davis. I live at 823 Irvin Terrace. I also own a house at 822 Irvin Terrace. This problem with the sewers has been going on for, I keep a sewer rack hanging on my mailbox so I can pull the sewer lids to keep the water from going into my houses. The sewer's not big enough. I can't take the volume of water. I've been preaching this for 20 years. come up, they put a little half-ass sewer down by the gravel road. Gravel comes down, fills that up. It doesn't do any good. Give you a good example, Wednesday night when we had the bad storms, that was at 5 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't get out there to pull the sewer heads. The next night I did. It helped out tremendously, it kept it right at the driveway. But don't take my word, take Officer, I believe it's David Latz, is that one of your officers? Lily, there you go. He witnessed both nights. But the problem is, after I pulled the sewers, some lady, I always stand out there to make sure nobody's gonna fall in the daggone sewer. Girl tried to get by, and I'm screaming at her, the cop's right there with his light on. Stop. I got the sewer lids off. Since she finally stopped, she's pretty determined she's gonna get across. The water slowed down enough where I could put that lid back on. By the time I walked back to the cop car, the water followed me up to the driveway. It's coming out so fast out of hides, and I knew what happened then. I knew the football drain was stopped up. Comes from the football down, fills up Superior, the old Superior Coal Company. Fills that up, that's as big as Tacoma Pool was. Shoots that water towards hides out the driveway. So there's a fourth way that I'm getting water.
Not to mention the sewer, that was
Hold on,
completely.
hold on. Repeat your
I'm
question.
sorry.
And I don't know who takes care of the sewers. Do we not, does SD1 take care of the sewers on private property or what? What's the
To
deal?
take care of the public, and the public roadway up to the property line is what they're responsible.
So if you got sewers, they run parallel. So if that's it, if that sewer stopped up in the middle, how's it gonna drain?
I think that's what happens in most cases in these heavy rains, they get stopped up and they back up. in
Exactly.
place.
The sewer hasn't been cleaned out in Superior Coal probably since the '37 flood. And it's a 5-foot sewer. Completely full. The gate just happened to be open, and when I went up to check out the football drain, I checked that out as well. That's just one. I'd say there's probably 3 sewers in the line inside there. There's also a dead sewer over by, under the underpass. It's nothing. Why couldn't they take that dead sewer and make a drain out of it, run it the 5 foot to the drain? That way you got an extra drain right there at the bottom.
If that sewer on the Townsley Electric there is private property, why can't we go after them and say, look, you gotta do something with that? If it's clogged up and dealing.
But it's still, Jerry, if it's an inline sewer, it don't make any difference. You've got A, B, and C, it's gotta be unclogged. They have to unclog.
Well, they're not doing it.
Well,
what he's saying.
that's
That's
my
what I'm
point.
trying, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah.
Why can't we make them do it?
Why don't we have Public
Tom?
Works report to SD1 saying,
I mean, SD1, I don't know if
it's
I.
SD1's
Right, I'm not going to
responsibility.
bat for SD1, but they are aware, they've got this issue, and obviously in every older city in the area, and they're supposed to be, and they're the ones that keep the logs of it, so I don't know, when the last time it was they cleaned some of those areas. but they're supposed to
13 years
keep
ago
the
when
logs.
this happened, it cost me $40,000 to put that little house back up again. They condemned it. The city come in and condemned the house. I mean, it wiped out the basement and everything again. I mean, there I'm buying a new furnace, AC, the whole works. Knocked out the windows. Last time I knocked out the foundation. I'm a little bit luckier this time. But still, no, somebody's got to take some of this responsibility. I'm tired of taking it on the chin. Somebody's got to say, hey, I'm going to help you get out of this mess. And so far, nobody's doing shit. And I appreciate you talking to me because I know there's a bunch of people who've got a lot of stuff to say.
Thank you, Greg.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Who's next? What?
Thank you.
Take your name.
My name's Jesse Davis. I'm the son of Greg. I live at 823. The house he's referring to is the house I've lived in for 35 years, born and raised. Like he said, I mean, something's got to happen here. I mean, we're looking at these sewers. I mean, I got pictures of everything. I mean, this is, we were around looking at other sewers that were neglected, that were, like he's saying, this man right here has lived in this town for a long time. He's known us well. You know this has been an issue for a long time. Mr. Burns over here knows my dad rather well, knows that this has been an issue for quite some time now. I went to school with Mr. Tucker here. Mr. Joe down here, nice guy, come up and witnessed the mess of everything the other day. I knew Miss Ledger. I play a lot of music with her boys. You know, it's a small town. You know everybody. Like, I'm the type of guy who's willing to lend a hand to anybody, and I get that from my parents. It's the way I was born and raised, and you know, it's hurtful to sit back, like he said. This ain't the first time this has happened. You know, like us running out in a thunderstorm and 3 foot of water and reaching down and trying to find a 100-pound sewer lid to pull it up to save my house from getting flooded. Why do I gotta be the guy that should have to do that every time? And then here, after my house gets destroyed, Wednesday or Thursday when that happened, we spend all day cleaning up. Then I decide, I'm going to go out with my brother and have a good time and try to let some steam off, and relax over this mess, because my house is a disaster. Here we're gone for 20 minutes. It starts raining again, and here my mom comes calling me crying. It's flooding again. You got to get home. It's done up to your driveway. I mean, like, am I going to be biting my nails and just be freaking out every time a thundercloud rolls in? I shouldn't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that this shouldn't be an issue to resolve, because there's multiple ways to make this not happen. And we can bring it up, some ideas of what we thought about. I mean, I don't understand why 2 foot grate, steel grate, by this wide, by the whole width of the street, couldn't go all the way across the middle of the street and could take on any amount of water that comes down that hill. Needless to say, we just built a whole nother city on top of the hill. We put 100, 150, 170 houses up where Belmont Lake used to be. So the lake's gone. So, for 13, 15 years, I'm wiping my forehead, my old man's wiping his forehead, like, the lake's gone, this probably never will happen again. Why would we have flood insurance in the first place when our town's surrounded by a wall?
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking, the insurance ain't, and what that, it's nothing's covered. I mean, like, this is my home. I'm looking at every one of you and thinking, what would you do if you was me? Because I've been off work for 3 or 4 days now, trying to get my house back together. Got the biggest monkey you can get, which took us 3 or 4 days to even get, because I understand that problems happening everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And I get that. But I'm looking at all you guys, and I'm asking you guys for help. This needs to stop. I mean, I lived here for 35 years, and I might live there another 35 till they drag me out of there dead. And I don't want to be worried about this every time it
Great to let
rains.
you know, mine's hit it it's got me 3 times. We're all the way up on the top.
I understand, man. I
So
mean,
it
I
isn't something
understand
that we
that
don't-
everybody's got problems in their life. Everybody's cities and roads and alleys, and I mean, we need to look at what the problems, the big ones are, and that's what needs to be fixed first.
So are you suggesting, because I've thought about this many times, right there at the underpass, the sewer grates are terrible. They're
It's worthless.
They're
They
terrible.
might as well not be
Your
there.
suggestion is they put it across the whole street.
We could put in a great, I mean, that's gonna slow down the
I mean,
traffic.
that's
We
a
could
great
put in
suggestion.
speed
We have to
bumps,
take it back. That's
whatever.
Not a bad thing to slow the
It's gonna
traffic down.
slow the traffic down from people whizzing around the damn bend. I mean,
That
trust me,
yellow
I've
line
seen it
standing
more than
down next
any
to
of
it.
you have seen it.
Dangerous enough.
I mean, little girls are my nieces and my dog and stuff that's up there. We don't need people to be speeding around that bend anyway. So
That's
it
one of your
wouldn't hurt.
suggestions, that we could maybe take it back to SD1 and,
Well, a question I have, Michael, and you would know more than anything, is can we touch those sewers without them? Or is this something we have to put pressure on them to do?
No, we're gonna have to put pressure on them to look at it. And they've got a regional plan of areas that they're tackling, but what we'll do is we'll just go in and have the conversation and do whatever we can to make sure that we find out where that is on the list. and make sure that it gets the attention that it needs. It
I
has
mean,
to have to go through.
But you also said, Michael, they was gonna be here tonight, they're not here?
Oh, no,
Oh, I thought you said that.
Wait a minute, Michael. As far as the list that they have now, these are emergencies, and I don't know how many homes in Dayton were affected by that. That should move us up the list quite a bit.
Well, yeah, I would think so, I would think so.
I mean, this was on the news, you know, everybody was aware of what happened. For the most part, or
Bellevue
Facebook,
too.
or whatever.
Why don't we, as a council, create a committee that takes care of these things and goes to fight, not fight, but to address these issues to SD1 as a whole? And we have city safety, we have economic development, we have all these different committees. Why don't we have one that takes care of this issue and goes to SD1 board meetings and
Well, Michael does that.
If I
I
could,
think that that's the guy we want to.
Michael does a good job, but maybe if we had more squeakies, the wheel will get greased.
We've also changed personnel. And Michael has found a lot of stuff out, and I don't know that you guys all know that, but every time you change, you make a change, you find out something, maybe somebody didn't do or did wrong. And I'm not saying that
Jesse
that
brings
back
it-
that went, but.
Jesse brings up a good point. These guys are sitting around talking about it on a daily basis. We talk about it maybe, he lives in the heart of the hill.
Exactly.
I live on the avenue, so it's not my daily concern.
Mhm.
But your guys, we should be talking to you on a regular basis, like, what are your ideas? And then taking those ideas to SD1, rather than,
Well, exactly, I mean, my brother works, has his own contractor business, this guy knows how to do drains, and he's got several ideas, which I'm sure you'll hear from him next. But, it's just, I mean, I even took pictures of other sewers that are already around town that look amazing compared to what's up under that underpass. I mean, it's just.
I saw the clog one day, it was field, it had a tree in it.
Yeah.
And we was up there, I see and took pictures of every bit of that up there.
Yeah.
But and there's nicer sewer grates in the alley that runs next to the football field than there is under that underpass. Or on the streets, I mean, I took a picture of, at the top of, where the Scullys live, right where their street comes down and meets Irvin, that sewer has collapsed completely down over top of the hole. We took pictures of that, or me and you seen it. Them grates that are up there on Urban Terrace do absolutely nothing. When you're dealing with water that's moving that fast, that little flat grate in the street, it's whoop, right over top of it on down in my basement. That's what's happening with them grates. Nothing. So,
and it's not only the grades, it's the infrastructure that's lining.
and then my next question is, like I said, back to the city that's been built up there. Where is this water going? We got 150 new homes on the hill. Where's that water going? On top of that, we just put 5-6 years worth of fill in down there in the river where it's all exiting out. So where is it all going now? That's my question to you guys. And what has been damaged? I mean, how do we know that everything that's draining out of what we had ain't done been crushed by a million tons of dirt and stuff to fill down here on the river now?
So they had to go through testing, and it's.
I mean, but you understand what I'm saying, and I mean, like, this ain't been a problem forever, but come 03, it happened because of the lake and the rainfall, and then the neglect of the sewers and the series of things, and I get that. But then,
Yeah, the underlying infrastructure in any of these river cities just hasn't been able to keep up with the growth that's occurred. And that's, ultimately when you get a rain like that, it literally has nowhere to go. But I totally get it, totally understand your concern.
so, this is the first time I did this, and now I got a lot on my mind and a lot of stress, and been working for days, and been walking around in wet shoes for 5 days now. Just now made it back to work. That's all needless to say. But, I'm looking at people I know and people that care for this town. And like I said again, I'm just asking for the right help.
We'll get SD1 out.
That's our guy, guys. And I thank everybody here.
At least, we'll get SD1 in here and look and able to look at all these areas.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but has any contact been made by the city administration to SD1 since Thursday morning?
No, I have not contacted this.
Virgil, I've never seen SD1 up there, never.
They
never
are
approached me.
aware of urban terrace. I don't know what their view of that problem is, but they'll be able to tell me as soon as
I think if we took some of the pictures and some of the footage that I got, we could make them real aware of it,
Well, yeah.
what they.
I was next to your house on Thursday, and I saw that car that where you and the family, thank God they got out.
Yeah, I mean, it was 2 foot from being under.
Most certainly, thank God they got away safely, but, I mean, this is a bigger issue than.
And it happened so quick, guys. I mean, but like my dad said, normally we try to prevent it by popping them lids and whatnot. By the time my mom woke us up, there was some 4 foot of water out there.
5 in the morning, what do you do?
Yeah, but then here's the thing, you guys lift them up, somebody steps in the hole, who are they gonna come after?
Exactly,
You guys.
exactly. You know,
I
and
get
it's
it.
like we're just
Nobody
trying
can
to.
do that.
No, you should not have.
Exactly
It's just
right,
another
man.
problem being created.
That's another problem, another opportunity.
Thanks, Jesse.
Go ahead. Hi, my name's Tom Herman. My wife and I own a building, I guess it's 115 6th Avenue. It's the Bayview Theater building. We operate a business in there. In addition to that, she has several homes that she rents in Dayton. And quite frankly, she's become one of the biggest Dayton cheerleaders that I've ever been around. But anyway, our daughter actually bought a house, and she's at 821 next door to Jesse. And I got a text about 6 o'clock in the morning that she was being flooded. So she's only been there 3 years. It's the first time it's happened. But now I'm finding out through this meeting and through neighbors and that going on there for years and years. And what she's looking at right now is she is with Jesse. She's completely flooded out. She's got thousands of dollars in damage. The insurance adjuster, I had a long conversation. She's a commercial photographer. She's out of town a lot, so she's kind of asked me to help her out on this. And, I had a long talk with our insurance adjuster. We found out that no, we don't have flood insurance. No, we don't have sewer backup insurance. But he went on to tell me that he deals with this all the time, and he said, in most cases, the city or the sanitation department will come up and take care of part of this expense. He says, I experience this every week. He said, you pay taxes, property taxes, and the city's supposed to be looking out for you, and you're paying, obviously, fees and whatever to your sanitation department. So, you know, in some ways, you're both responsible for this. We can talk about clogged drains and sewers and houses and, you know, whatever. Doesn't really make any difference unless something gets done. And I'm finding out from talking to the neighbors now, since this is the first time it happened to Christina, is that, you know, it would really help if they just took those flat sewer lids off and made them graded sewer lids, because the gutter will not handle a lot of rain or a lot of runoff, and when it would fill up, is with what Greg is saying, he pops the lids off and the water goes into the sewer and the water recedes. So, I mean, to me, I don't know, maybe this seems like it's pretty simple to take the solid ones off and put graded ones on, you know, and then they're talking about these other sewers that are not being, evidently, drains that are not being properly maintained. You know, if I go to SD1, they're going to laugh at me, but if Michael and Tom go and say, hey, you know, we got a problem here, they're going to listen to you guys, I would think, and get it done. You know, we can have committees, we can talk, we can, you know, we do all kinds of things, but, you know, let's just fix it. Let's just fix it. And what we're looking for, as far as my daughter's concerned, we're looking for it to get fixed and to be compensated. And I mean, SD1, if they're culpable for this, they need to know that. They need to say, hey, we got to come up with money. Liberty Mutual tells me it happens all over the country every week. Now, if I go to SD1, they're going to probably laugh at me. But if you guys represent us and go talk to them
and say, hey, let's do this now. Because I understand Greg and Jesse and other people here have been through this for years and years. And my daughter's gone through it one time, and I assure you, she's only going to go through it one time. That's it. It's not going to happen again. Somebody's got to do something. Let's go over there and get somebody off their coffee break on a truck, and let's go over there and let's at least start. It's not like we're asking to spend thousands and tens of thousands of dollars.
Probably gonna cost less to fix that than it did
Just
for the damage.
fix it and then maintain and clean that sewer. I appreciate, Greg told me that the city was up there cleaning some sewer. I'm not familiar with Belmont Lake and the ball field and all that. I'm a Newport boy. I don't know where all this stuff is, but it's nice that the city went up there and did that. As Greg said, that helps, right? Okay, if there's a sewer at, what is it, Superior Coal Company or whatever? I'm not a lawyer, but if that's a public sewer, they have given an easement for that to be there, haven't they?
They have to.
Yeah.
Right, which means SD1 or whoever's responsible to go on there and keep that thing cleaned out, you know. And I don't think anybody's saying the sewers aren't big enough. I think they're just basically saying they're not letting any water into them. So,
I think it's a bigger problem than just.
Can I approach you guys just to show you this?
Please finish.
but anyway,
This is a picture of, that's in town.
Good.
I'm just saying, you know, Michael, Tom,
Good name.
Where's that, Jesse?
That's
I
in
mean,
Townsley Electric.
they need to be
Right,
contacted.
that's Superior.
Yeah.
They need to be contacted tomorrow morning and let them know, because we've got storms coming in, and let them know that this has to be done within the next few days. And just, you know, throw a graded lid in the back of the truck and just come down and exchange them, so Greg don't have to get up in the middle of the night, go out there and pull it open, and then open himself up to liability. So,
And that would be an easy fix right there to start, but we don't want to wait and hope that fixes it with all these other problems.
I understand that, but we gotta
We
start
can do that
somewhere.
first, that's the cheapest for them.
I mean,
Right, let's just do it.
to your point of graded manhole covers, you know, this has got to be available. This is going to have to be
They're
available.
I don't know, I'll run the Lowe's after this meeting.
I'm pretty sure they're available.
Why can't we just get SD1 to replace it in the meanwhile while we try to figure the next one?
That's what I'm
Great
saying.
idea.
Right. So that's kind of my thought, and then we move on from there.
Seems to me like those gotta be replaced tomorrow. Let's not have committee meetings or anything.
No, we're not.
We'll do it tomorrow.
If they can't get it, if they can't find the right way, then we'll drill holes in the ones that are there.
Well, I'm not saying that.
That could be
Michael will
happening.
reach out to sanitation or get somebody over here for sanitation.
Drill enough holes in it.
Until we get them over there and figure out what's going on.
Right, there's been thousands of dollars of losses.
Yeah, I'm sure there is.
You need, Michael, you need to tell them that, you know, we need this relief.
Someone could have died.
Anyone else like to speak?
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Jeff Holder, 336-1 River Point Drive. I see on the agenda there's a couple of orders due for second reading. I was just wondering if someone could speak to and summarize the private sewer lateral program at SD1.
So, if you recall, the sanitation district they've taken away the lateral line program for a couple of years. And with pressure, they reinstated it. And when they reinstated it, I believe it went into effect last fiscal year, they did it under the impression that they would take back over the maintenance, that there was a lateral line break from the main line to the property line under the road. So if there was a private lateral that was damaged, that caused damage to the public roadway, they would come back in and fix it. The one stipulation they put on it was that the city was responsible for the final cap of the pavement. The new program eliminates that, so they cover all of it.
Thanks.
Anyone else like to address the council at this time?
I'm also Greg Davis. I live at 929 Dayton Pike, up on the hill. I just want to discuss the same issue that my dad and my brother did. 13 years ago, we had the same problem with my we were all on a camping trip and got a call from my mom crying because she was trapped in the home at the time for the same problem. She was actually rescued by firemen because the water was actually coming in on her. That problem is never went away. And in between that time and this time, it's never went away then. Cars hit, even small storms, 2 feet of water, 3 feet of water at the bottom of that hill that you can't see is a problem, period, end of story. Grades, there's 2 sewers there that don't catch the volume of 1 sewer. There could be 4 sewers, 1 on each end. There could be a grade away, grade box. There could be a sewer installed on the corner of 9th and Urban Terrace. And at the top where it converts at the Y, I believe Dayton Avenue Y there, there's 2 grates there and 1 on the other side. They do absolutely nothing. Those can be taken out and put in an actual catch basin where it actually catches the water. Water doesn't just make a right turn and like jump into a drain. That's not how it works. It has to be made to catch the water so it works properly. 13 years ago, my family lost everything from our childhood possessions, belongings, things that we will never get back. And it's happened again. There's a 30-yard dumpster up there filled with my brother's stuff he's never going to get back, ever. And I think something needs to be done about it. What was your name?
Tom.
Tom? You said now, not like 13 more years get by. It needs to happen pretty quick. Somebody needs to put their foot down, make something happen. My Honda Civic, the night we were out before the big storm, I had a couple beers and Jesse drive me home. He drove my Honda Civic back, parked it in my mom's yard, in the back of the yard. The next day it had 2 feet of water in it, in the whole car. Now it's just like, what am I going to do about it? Who's going to eat that? Now I'm out of car. It smells like the river. It doesn't run right anymore. I mean, liability insurance is going to cover it, so what do I do with it? Just effed? Honestly, what would you do if it's yours? You just sell it? I don't know. It's something to think about, man. This is not brain surgery here. Just fix the problem, man. That's it. Fix the problem. Thanks.
Mayor Michael, I just want to make one comment. The SD1 hasn't done nothing for the city of Dayton or anybody in North Kentucky. And the only thing they've done, and I've told you, Michael, I have a distaste in my mouth about SD1. They've raised your rates 15% for the last 3 years. That's all they've done. Now they're going to tell you they was mandated by the federal government to do this and do that. They have done nothing for this, and we're going to have the same problem as these people here coming down Walnut Street and Thornton Street and Old Found when Red Dot goes up there. So we got to get on SD1's case right now.
One more thing, I was thinking about something I forgot. All these new houses up on the hill, like you said, if they were tied in all these old sewer systems, it's just taking up the volume of water from what used to be there, now there's more. And then we got this project behind the flood wall, like Jesse was saying. All that weight's on top of those old sewers. Even if it just, flattened off the top of one of them where it's, just carrying 89, 90% volume instead of 100, that's a huge difference, especially when you're adding homes instead of subtracting them. So I don't know if it has anything to do with it, but
The sewers on the riverfront are new.
okay, well, I mean, either way, man, like, to run a camera down through the sewers, just make sure they're, catching all the volume they could, isn't like an expensive task. They run them down, skip a bit, look down the hole, make sure it's not collapsed, make sure something is teed in properly, and gaskets where they need to be. Just, we're all asking for somebody to, stand beside us. I mean, he's lost all this stuff again, man, and it's like, no furnace, no AC. I don't know if you guys realize it's 90 degrees outside. You'd be pretty impatient too if you went home with no air conditioning, no heat. Winter's going to be here soon enough. I mean, Jesse works every day, but damn, nobody should have to just keep replacing stuff that already works. My car would be fine. And because I took the Safeway home and had him drop me off, now it's screwed up because it's 2 foot, flood water in it. In a town that's protected by a flood wall. I shouldn't have to deal with this, period.
Greg, why don't you put some of your ideas down and take them up to city building too?
I have several of them. I can do that. And who should I give them to?
Michael.
I
It's not gonna hurt.
It's just a picture of a sewer that
I
I
would
thought
love that
looked
picture.
really nice up by Townsley. I mean, that's a simple answer
Right.
right there. I mean,
Right, there's no blockage.
beautiful looking sewer with the grate in front of it. This is up by Townsley Electric, in case anybody's wondering, but this is a really nice looking sewer here.
Takes from the top and the bottom, that's what's great
You know what
about
I'm
it.
saying?
It's
It's
a
got
catch
the
basin.
super nice open hole plus the grate.
That's what they're designed to do.
You know what I'm saying?
Except that how did they do them in the old days?
It's
See, that's one of the problems we
Yeah,
got.
they
We gotta
got something-
change all that, and that's really, as far as I'm concerned, go keep it.
Some things don't need to remain historic.
That's exactly right. You don't tie your horse off in front of the city building anymore.
Exactly, we need to change it.
Yeah.
It's not that too much bad.
I think we need to realize a couple of things here. And I totally sympathize, and talking to you guys the other night, I totally sympathize with what you're going through. We got 5.5 inches of rain in an hour Thursday morning, okay? Much of the water that came down in the urban terrace, that didn't all come down from urban terrace. Much of that came from behind the football field.
Exactly.
Right? Came down Vine Street, or over from Vine Street across 9, we all saw it.
And then you got backwash.
My question is,
No, wait, let me finish, please, if I could. Friday night, after I talked to you guys, we got, what, 2.5 inches of rain in 25 minutes. That's torrential, okay? You can't build pipes big enough for that. Friday night, during that rainstorm, my wife was ready to kill me. I was up there at 9th and Vine, and I went up to Grant Park, and I'm looking down in that overflow, what used to be Belmont Lake. If that had still been Belmont Lake, that probably would have breached, quite frankly. That retention pond, there's 2 retention ponds up there. On Thursday morning, talking to the citizens up there, they were out there Thursday morning after the storm. It got up to the overflow. It never went over the top of it. Friday night when I was down there, and I was down there again Saturday morning, you can see from where the grass was laid down, the water did come down the street, and it went into that retention pond, and it never got near the overflow. So all of that went into the 2-foot pipe, I think it is, that goes under that retention pond. So the new development up there, did add a lot of impermeable surface, but the retention pond did its job. That pipe comes out on the other side of that, and it goes into a creek. And then that creek goes into a pipe that goes under the football field, which collapsed a couple years ago.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
That, and my understanding is Public Works cleared that out on Friday morning. All that water came down over the field. That pipe couldn't take it anymore. It was clogged up, or it was too small, or whatever. So my point being, adding grates down there at Urban Terrace would have prevented some of the flooding on your property at Urban Terrace, but wouldn't have done much for 9th Street, or for Superior
my
Coal or
question is,
Townsville
why is there
Electric.
no sewers on 9th Street? Went from the football field to Urban Terrace, there are no sewers. There's
That-
one, and it's at the corner of 9th and the football field.
Right.
It's the only one.
Right, what I'm saying is, when we talk to SD1, it has to be approached upstream. I mean, Dayton Pike got flooded, Covert Run got nailed.
Oh, what
Yeah,
all-
Even
all-
Lincoln
I'm
Road was
sure.
washed out in spots, so it was a torrential downpour. And again, I don't mean to minimize what y'all are going through, I'd never wish that on anybody, I really wouldn't. But I think with SD1, I think you have to look upstream where the pinch points are. And I just want to make sure that, nobody's blaming Grant Park for this. That retention pond was designed and did handle this.
Well, we're not necessarily blaming it, we're just trying to come up with a solution that fits the problem for everyone.
I understand.
Not just our
So
particular
am I.
problem, we're not being selfish about it, we're just trying to get you guys on board with finding solutions and following through with them.
I'm saying the pinch point on your on the issue that ended up in Urban Terrace, and this is, like I said to you the other day, I'm no hydrologist, but looking at everything Saturday morning for a long time, traipsing through the woods, that problem started at that drain there.
Absolutely.
And all that stuff came down and washed all that gravel down and everything. So I think if that problem can be addressed first. Now, if the pipes past that are not big enough to handle all that water volume, then that's another issue with SD1, that we'll have to tear up streets and everything else. But just the amount of rain and how fast that comes down those steep hills.
A little bit of studying to see what all comes down Urban Terrace would help too, find out exactly what comes
Absolutely.
over.
Absolutely. And I get your point about the pinch there on the macadam and all that.
Exactly.
It does nothing.
So I asked
Passes
for
those
administration,
Exactly.
to get
Yeah,
SD1 up there
those
as soon as
grades are
possible.
pointless.
I know know they're busy, but, I mean, like they said, there could be another 2-inch storm tonight.
Yeah, some grades and some quick fixes until we can research it, find a better solution to the problem is all we're asking for right now.
Understood.
A few years back, we had a meeting down here, SD1, the city, and the school system. That's when Gary Rye was, whatever he was down here. Not a bad, it's a bad word to me, but anyways, a criminal. Anyway, we were going to move the football field from Davis Field down to Gilland Park. We had guys come in, show us how to form that could possibly happen. The Davis Field was going to be becoming a holding tank for the water runoff. They were going to make put a passive park. You could just walk in and walk around and stuff, and lights and gazebos, but it would hold all that water. Well, Mr. Rye said, we don't want to put that kind of money into that football field at that time. And SD1 kind of backed out, I guess, I don't know when they found out, because the city was willing to do it.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. The bleachers were going to be on the side of the flood wall, just like they are in several other cities that have flood walls. It was a beautiful project, but it got canceled.
And it would have been a place to catch all the water. I mean, there've been like.
There you go. But they backed out on that, and that was really a smart move as far as I was concerned. So that's just a little input for you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Rest Council.
Is this an appropriate time to address anything on the
Yes,
agenda?
ma'am, anything.
All right, thank you. I'm sorry, I'm a first time
You're fine.
to your meeting.
First time caller.
I'm a first time caller, yes I am.
Listen to your show all the time.
Thank you. Good evening, my name is Lisa Banks. I represent the ownership of the building at 702 6th Avenue. On the agenda tonight is the Berry Street between 6th and 7th, turning possibly into a two-way. The ownership is in favor of this two-way street. It has become a safety factor of people driving through the parking lot where the catering business is. I'm at the property quite often. I don't operate the business that's located in there, but I am at that property quite often. I've seen cars go through there too quickly. There's children that play back in that alley. There are children that use the sidewalk and crosswalk and after school, and they cut through that alley, as well as a danger to the patrons of the business that's in that building, the delivery people, and employees. So we are definitely in favor of this going to a two-way street. Have I given you all the information personally that you need from me? Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Anyone else like to address council at this time?
Sure. Brett Newspitchell, 701 Urban Terrace. I kind of want to reiterate what she was saying, because I was waiting for somebody to step up there, but anyhow. As far as, I mean, I heard a lot of debate last time about Berry Street and it becoming a two-way and all the cars parked there. I'm not sure how many people drop off kids there in the morning during the school season, but that seems to be where the problem area is, more than anything else. So what I would suggest is maybe a solution when you're all looking at the answer to this, is if you're worried about what's parking there in the evening, maybe have it in effect from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. during school season, allowing two-way in. Because what happens is, the problem isn't necessarily in Short Berry, but it's on the avenue as you're heading east and the cars are wanting to turn left to get their kids into the school. They don't make the light quick enough, so it just backs up. So that's what I would suggest, and following up with what she was saying, that's where it becomes concerned, because everybody's trying to get around, and they look for all these alternate routes, whether it be through the parking lot, through the alley, and I've seen myself from being there to take the kids to school, for people crossing across, a crosswalk, they're the ones almost become the victim of people just trying to get around the other cars that are backed up there. So that's what I would ask for you all considering that.
Anyone else like to address council at this time? Yes, sir.
My name's Floyd Hopper. I own a business in Dayton at 640 6th Street. I'm not in favor of a one-way street because it's going to take parking. It's a business, you have to have parking. If you have off-street parking, that's fine, but if you don't have off-street parking, they have to park on the street. Now, if they don't take a lane out, that's fine. I have no problem with the two-way street. But as a business, it's gonna hurt the business. Now, does anybody know they're gonna take a parking away, or?
Well,
It's fine.
It's on the agenda, and it would be a first reading, and there would be a second reading next month, whether it would get passed or not at that time.
Well, it's fine if you make it one way or two way, it's no different. And that's, the thing is, the parking. People that have off-street parking, they don't care. But if you have a business and you don't have off-street parking, you gotta use the street parking for your business. That's all you have. And that's my point. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to address council at this time? Yes, sir.
Yes, my name's Walter Welch, and residence I'm speaking is 37 Marin Mills Highway. I spoke last month at the meeting. I know Mr. Edge has distributed his summary of the findings to those of the audience. It's pertaining to a building permit that is in the floodplain, and the fact that this is a summer residence. It's Doyle's Club, if you're familiar with it, across from the old Bethlehem Steakhouse. Because we're in the floodplain, there's ordinances now with FEMA requirements that particular ordinance 152 and 150 relate to the building code, and then I have to elevate, well, since it's being qualified as a substantial improvement, I have to elevate my cottage that's already 4 feet off the ground an additional 8 feet to meet the floodplain. But since it's a summer residence, I cannot qualify for FEMA because that's on the FEMA webpage. And I did present that to Mr. Edge, and he has acknowledged it in his summary. The thing that I found since the July meeting is back in 1981, when these flood elevation restrictions were in vogue, we did a construction request for a garage. I found it after his summary went out. 1981, the Division of Water, and I have a copy of it here, I can give you your clerk. At the time, our secretary, William Sandman, was given a letter from Joseph Manley, the professional engineer at the Division of Water, Construction and Permits Branch. It reads, "Dear Mr. Sandman, as requested by your letter of November 18, 1981, the Division of Water approves the structural plan submitted on the date previously mentioned. It says, since you have stated that there will be no application for flood insurance for this project, we waiver the elevation requirements usually associated with this type of construction. There shall be no deviation from the plans and specifications," it goes on, "unless approved by this office. Upon completion of the construction of the project, permittee must notify the department in writing sincerely and it's signed." So basically, what I'm asking for, my Division of Water was signed off on once before, or very similar. I have extra copies if anybody wants to see it. So that's what I just read. So my point is that I stated previously I did not believe we could apply for the insurance, and Mr. Giffen said he was, I think, informed by the Campbell County that we would still be liable. Well, the thing is that I've shown that by the webpage on FEMA, and if you Google, let me look here. Let's see. It's something like individual disaster assistance. It lists secondary homes as not qualifying. Okay? So it's back to that point. We cannot give any benefits. It's a fact. He's acknowledged it. But the thing is, since that finding and summary he wrote, I found it in our records of our club, that documentation. I have all the plans for the garage. It's a 24 by 24 thing. And the thing is that I'm not trying to say that your ordinance, I'm not trying to invalidate it. All I'm asking for is a recommendation of a waiver, or waiver itself, variance, whatever you call it. In this case, it was a waiver. And that's what consideration I'd like.
Unfortunately, Mr. Welsh, as I explained to you, the insurance factor doesn't weigh into whether you get it or not. The insurance doesn't weigh into the fact of what the ordinances are. As I explained, you could either try to make the project split into pieces to not make it a substantial, or you could go to the Board of Adjustments with variance, which you indicated to me was kind of the route you were leaning at. Unfortunately, I would offer to this council not to make any type of recommendation, allow the Board of Adjustments the free opportunity to hear this case without biasing them in any way by the city council. We'd be essentially overruling our Board of Adjustments to make any notes or thoughts on it as a council. Furthermore, and there's nothing in the ordinance that the city council can't do anything outside of what's in the ordinance. It's set up for the Board of Adjustments. The city council has already delegated that power to. So that's all there with the Board of Adjustments. Of course, you can take all that information to them. You can present your case before them. Should they will take a look at the ordinances that tell them when and where they can grant variances. They will look at those rules, and they'll make a decision. Upon that point, if you disagree with the decision, of course, you can apply to the circuit court for appeal of that decision. But outside of that, there's not any appeal process through the city council. It goes to the Board of Adjustments to the circuit court.
But in your ordinance, it states that the city council has the power to
You have to read
give to the mayor or the flood administrator to interpret and make variances or waivers.
The flood administrators takes care of the day-to-day administration of the ordinance, and he interprets the ordinance, and at that point, if you disagree with his decision, then you go to the Board of Adjustments to see about a variance. And then if you don't get that variance, or you get that variance, depending on what the outcome of the Board of Adjustments is, then you will either have the variance, or if you still disagree with their decision, you can go to the circuit court. It's that simple, sir. Unfortunately, if you do disagree with me about the law, I would recommend to you to go ahead and retain private counsel to assist you in this matter.
Well, the other point I asked at the last meeting when we were discussing it was the fee that I was told was $400. And based on how the Campbell County person wrote it up, it made it sound like, we're only going to consider this, okay, this aspect of it being substantial and non-substantial. And she threw out the fact that what in the FEMA write-up says that if there's emergency repairs for health or safety reasons or continued damage to the building, now, I wouldn't consider that. And the thing is, that was my point, that, okay, I'm going to pay $400 to get kicked in the teeth by this department. And then it was said at the last meeting that, no, our fee is only $75 for the appeal of the waiver. Okay? Then you sent back to me that, no, it isn't $400, it's $350 plus $150. So now I'm looking at $500.
I wouldn't have quoted a fee in any kind of memorandum that I would have said. It's not anything I would have done. What I did is I forwarded you an email from Cindy Mentor that explained what the fee statute, what the fee rates were set at. What you do is you go to staff, you make an appeal for the variance. Then at that point, you can bring up any of these issues that you've outlined tonight. You can bring those to the Board of Adjustments, and they will look at it under what options they have under their ability to grant variances, and then they will make a decision. You'll have full opportunity and full due process to present evidence, to bring witnesses, to submit documents, to talk to other witnesses, to ask questions, and then they will deliberate, answer the issue, and make a finding on that particular issue. Once that's done, their choices are grant the variance with conditions, or deny the variance. And then from there, you can go forward, proceed forward.
So if they feel that it's common sense with what's past history, that we've gotten waivers before and been allowed to have construction that's because we don't have insurance, are they allowed to approve it on that basis?
they're allowed to look at several different things in the ordinance, and I don't have the ordinance in front of me, and I don't have them memorized, of course, because like everybody else in the world, I've only got so much square footage in the brain. So the idea is they're going to look at that rule, and you can look it up too in the Dayton City Code of Ordinances. I'm not your attorney and not here to represent you on that matter. Now, if the Board of Adjustments looks for legal advice, they'll talk to staff and they'll talk to me about it as to where and what they can base that decision off of, but it's in the ordinance, and at that point, they'll have those are their guidelines for how they do it, and as long as they stay within the parameters of that, then they have completed all their legal requirements.
So the summary you wrote, that was distributed just to council?
Yes, it's sent along to council.
Okay. So as far as on this Board of Appeals, is there anyone present here that's on the Board of Appeals?
No, this is a Board of Adjustments. It's appointed by the mayor and council here, and they are separate citizens. None of them are on this council.
Oh, I'm sorry, you said it's supported by the mayor and the city?
They're appointed by the mayor and the city council.
Because I thought it...
The mayor picks and then they sign off.
I thought it said in the ordinance it was the judge of the certain court.
No, I don't know what that's, we don't have any councils.
That might be county.
Yeah, we don't have anything on our
But
end.
that's my point. I mean, to me, I thought I was being sent back to the counties for the...
County takes care of actually, all the county does is they look at, there are staff, there are administrative helpers, they're part of our administration, but they send it to our Board of Adjustments. This is who looks at it.
We have our own Board of Adjustment, please.
Yeah. So it'd be citizens of Dayton that have been duly appointed that will take a look at the case.
But yet I go back to Cindy Minter.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there is one other issue because prior to sending this out and waiting for the summary, I got a letter dated wrongly, because it was back on May 16th when I turned it in last week, saying that because I hadn't replied, even though I know both you and Mr. Gibbon had been communicating with her, finding questions, that because I hadn't replied to them, that they closed my documentation.
I think if you go back and speak with them, I think that's a resolvable.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I think that's a resolvable problem because it seemed to me as the matter was, they seem interested to see what you were gonna do. So I think that's something if you talk to them, you know, that's a fixable issue.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else at this time like to address council?
Mayor?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Catherine Hamilton Hicks. I live at 136 Grand Park Drive. This is not my issue. I just wanted to address this gentleman here who's obviously invested a lot of time trying to make improvements to his property in Doyle's. I think the attorney is giving you a suggestion here to avoid a lot of hoops. I may be misspeaking, you could correct me, but if you make incremental improvements, add a bathroom this year, add a bedroom next year, do small little things over a course of time, that is your answer.
Just so you know, I had to inform Cindy Minter and their group that it's a one-year annual, but based on the damage structurally in the inside, because this cottage, the portion I want to repair is over 70, 80 years old. And when I got into it and had mildew on the walls, I figured I got to replace a lot of this, so.
Right, but this is the solution
Yeah.
the attorney is trying to tell you. Do it small bits over time, then it's continually incremental. Then it's not a
It's
huge
not
project.
substantial.
Right, and then, 5 years from now, you have a beautiful home and everybody's happy. So, sorry, I just wanted, but.
Anyone else like to address council at this time? All right. City Administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Is John Capella here representing? Yes. Okay. It's John Capella, he's representing the River Cities Relay Race, which is an upcoming relay race. I'll let him tell you a little bit more about it.
Great, thank you. Mr. Mayor, City Councilman, other city officials, Thank you for allowing me the time to briefly tell you about the inaugural River Cities Relay Run on the evening of Saturday, August 27th. As was mentioned, my name is John Capella. I'm actually here on behalf of Gary Alford, Fort Mitchell Fire Chief, who apologizes that he could not make tonight's meeting. Chief Alford and his classmates from Leadership Northern Kentucky wanted to create a signature running event that would showcase the scenic Northern Kentucky river cities of Bellevue, Covington, Dayton, Fort Thomas, Ludlow, and Newport. On the 27th, the race starts at 6 p.m. on Riverboat Row in Newport, proceeds east through Bellevue, and then into Dayton on Fairfield Avenue. The participants will then turn north on O'Fallon, then on the Manhattan Boulevard, onto the trail on the flood wall, turning around at the end of Manhattan Boulevard, proceeding back on that west on that street, and then south on O'Fallon towards Bellevue Beach Park. Participants running individually or as 2 or 4 person teams are instructed to run on sidewalks and obey all pedestrian laws. Race proceeds will benefit our 6 signature charities: the Parish Kitchen, Children's Home of Northern Kentucky, the Brighton Center, Be Concerned, Redwood, and the Emergency Shelter of Northern Kentucky. Chief Alford has been in communication with Mr. Geffen, as well as Tina Meyer, who have both given the event their support. I am here to formally ask permission to include the city of Dayton in the inaugural River Cities Relay on Saturday, August 27th. Thank you very much. I'll be happy to answer any questions any of you may have.
What's the cost per team?
The cost, depending on the 4-person team, is $160 right now. The 2-person team is $100. And an individual can run the race right now for $60. Yes, sir.
Can you clarify, will the runners and walkers be on top of the flood wall or on Manhattan Boulevard?
Both. So they'll be running on the trail on top of the wall.
Right.
And then once they get to the end, at the end of like Manhattan Boulevard where it's not paved anymore,
Right.
they'll be going on to Manhattan Boulevard at that point and running back.
You know that there's a steep grassy slope there.
If you turn north, maybe I'm not saying it right.
Joe, it's not there, it's up at Berry, where it's graded up already. And then
So they're going to
comes
stop
down-
at Berry and turn around?
Yeah, they're gonna turn at Berry.
Good.
Come back
I just
down.
wanted to make sure that not a problem. That's fine.
I ran it on Saturday. I didn't have to climb.
No, because the flood wall, if you go all the way down to the end, to the eastern end,
Gotcha.
there's no path coming down from it.
Need a motion that we support this?
I'll make the motion that we support the River Cities Relay for August 27th.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Thank you.
Thanks for including us, sir.
Next thing I have, Mayor, Council, you should have gotten a copy of the draft of the Riverfront, it's not really a draft anymore, the final version of the Riverfront Master Plan that KCF did. I want to thank KCF for their hard work over the last year and a half or so. The plan, I was very pleased with the product that they put out. That'll come up later in the council meeting for you all to officially adopt that. But we will get that online as soon as it's adopted tonight. We'll try to get it online as quickly as we can tomorrow so that everybody can see it. It's really a neat document, and it kind of sets the theme for our vision of the riverfront as it pertains to trails and how they will intertwine with the river and also intertwine with Manhattan Harbor development. So as you look through it, it's not meant to be something that's set in stone, that's exactly what you're going to see, but it helps kind of set the tone and the reality for what we, for types of amenities that we would like to see down there implemented over the years. It will be a very long implementation process, but we do have the funding to start some of those amenities. We've got the CBAC grant that was awarded last fall to us to start phase 1 of the Riverfront Commons Trail. I have submitted an RFQ to the state of Kentucky for review because of the federal funds that are in place. They have to, it has to go through the proper channels to get approved before I can actually publish that. So it's in the state's hands right now to review it, to make sure that the wording matches up with their program guidelines. And once they get it back, we will advertise for design on that, and that will be open for bid for design firms to start to design that first phase, which we hope will get us from somewhere around the base of the of O'Fallon to the future Berry Street connection site. Yeah, we'll get that online, and obviously it'll come up a little later. I do want to also mention, in tandem with that RFQ, we're working on a draft of the RFQ that's also in the state's hands for review for the Transportation Alternative Program grants that we have for sidewalk enhancements through the city. So we're kind of excited to get the design work on both of those up and running so that we can start construction on some good projects here in the springtime. Hopefully, with good weather pending in early spring, we can get those rolled out next year. I do have one handicap parking request for 134th Avenue. The applicant does meet all of the requirements as pertains, so I would ask for a motion to approve 134th Avenue.
Make that motion.
Motion by Bill,
Second.
second by Gilly. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And I do want to also, I'll send out an email tomorrow. I would like to get the Finance Committee and the Economic Development Committee together in the coming weeks to discuss CCAP. There's some changes that we wanted to implement. We had a good discussion several months ago, but kind of stalled out from there. So I'd like to reactivate kind of those discussions so we can see what changes need to be made to improve the program. I think we've all been very happy with the program so far, but I think some of the changes will make it even better. So I'll send out an email, we'll get something on the books for both committees. And then just a few quick housekeeping items. I know we talked about doing some crosswalks around 9th for football games coming up. Rick is in the process of getting some pricing from some companies to see, to get the costs on those, so we'll get going on that. And then the demolition of the burnout property on 9th Street. We are going to get to, we haven't really set a date. We're waiting for it to cool down just a little bit, and our public works crew is going to be doing that. We need to rent some equipment, but as soon as I know a better idea of when exactly we'll get that down and on the schedule, I will let you all know. Let me make sure I covered everything. We do have some an order coming up for surplus property. We've got 3 old police cruisers on there, and then 2 JVC video monitors that we used to use for council meetings years and years ago that really no longer work properly, but those were the items. There were 5 total on the list. That'll come up within the meeting. But if there aren't any other questions, man, it's Joe.
I just wanted to point out, first off, thanks for addressing the crosswalk request up at 9th and Vine. But both with that and the demolition, the football games start next weekend up there at Davis Field. So if we can get those both accomplished by then, I think it'll make a great impression, much better impression than it does now. When will we get the 2016 PVA report?
I heard some rumblings about it today, but I haven't received an official document. Tom, do you have anything? Did we get it?
We did.
You did get it? Okay. I've been in and out of the office today, so I didn't see it.
It came late Friday, and I put a copy of everything.
From what I heard, I think the values are up 4% or so.
Yes, they are.
Is that correct?
When will that be distributed to council?
As soon as I get it, I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Mr. Giffen, I was speaking with Mr. Tinman, Ron Tinman from Dayton Elementary, and he mentioned that you'd like for, and I'm sitting here looking at a picture right here, as far as the corner of 6th and Berry, with school coming up, he wants to make sure that those crosswalks are more visible. There's zebra stripes going across each one, so I'm not really sure how to be more visible. Maybe a sign with a blinker on it. I don't know if that's necessary or not, but something to make it more visible.
6th and Berry.
Yes, sir.
Also, did you check into that parking or that turn lane? Can you check into that?
For Berry Street, make that 2-way. We did check. We had both the fire department and the police department check into it, and they were both fine.
He's talking about the turn lane when you're coming down, You're talking
The monument,
Right by the monument. Coming down, like going
You said you didn't check with the state or something.
Well, they were kind of waiting to hear, I had a preliminary conversation, they were waiting to hear, because I kind of set them up to let them know, we're talking about making Berry Street 2-way.
But it
because they
wouldn't
want to,
affect
they want to
that.
review that at some point too. And I
Oh,
mentioned that
okay.
to them too, we just haven't had a full-on conversation.
There is enough room to do that, it would relieve the traffic problem, a lot of it, I would think, but I don't know.
Michael, I attended a meeting at the school when they were going to disband the bus service, and I was under the assumption that they was going to supply a crossing guard there at 6th and Mary Street to help the children come across the street. Can you check in? Yeah, through the school. I think
When
Mr.
was that?
Kimmon or one of them said that they was going to have a couple crossing guards.
When was that, Bill, that you attended this meeting?
Oh, about 2 months ago when they said they're going to disband the bus services.
Yeah,
They
all right.
used to be damn speakers out.
Unless anybody's got any questions.
Anybody else got anything for Michael? You got something, Joe?
On the 6th and Berry issue, when school starts in 2 weeks, they drop the bus service, there's gonna be at least 80 more kids finding alternate transportation or walking. So everybody, please, the first couple of weeks, everybody's learning how to drive and walk during that time. But, and especially with the Berry Street, we're talking about a left-hand turn westbound, and we're doing a first reading on the Berry Street two-way tonight. I think we need to wait at least a couple of months, a couple of weeks at least, for the first couple of weeks of school to get through and see what that looks like
Well,
in
the
the
thing is,
morning.
you're gonna have a first reading on this Berry. This is not, the second reading is next month. So they give you a whole month that the street's still.
It gives you 2 weeks of school.
I understand.
But it's just the first reading.
This is the first reading.
Understood, but if we have to make any changes, we have to do a first reading again. I'm just saying, and
I'm saying
I'm,
that you'll be able to see within the first 2 weeks what's going on down there, and you'll be able to make a good decision. But this is just the first reading. If you do this, then you go and put it, hold down, you're gonna have to wait, read it in September, and then pass it in October.
I understand first and second readings, sir, and that's why I was trying.
Okay, I'm just saying.
But to Mr. Gifford's point, on the left-hand turn lane, and not that I think it's a bad idea if it gets turned into two-way, but I really think we need to, and Chief, I know your guys will be down there too, keeping an eye on stuff, but, I mean, very delicate situation, I think we have to tread very delicately on.
The only thing I have about this, the first reading of this thing is, we've got 3 people here tonight, and I'm assuming that 2 of them are not for the two-way on Berry. Did we get responses from all the owners, all the people on that?
I sent out letters and I didn't.
You never got anything back?
I didn't see that response until tonight.
We got 3 people here tonight, but are we doing the right thing by going forward with it? I know it's a first reading, but
We got the first reading anyway a month, whether
Okay.
or not.
I wish the people would respond when we give them an opportunity, because
And they got another.
this is a positive thing for some people and negative for
Well,
others.
but they have another opportunity to come to the next council meeting and speak on the same issue before we got voted on. Anyone else have anything to make? Approval of minutes from the July 5th council meeting. Need everyone ready? Need a motion?
Make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Motion by Jerry,
One second.
second by Joe. Any comments on it? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. First reading, 2016-11. Turning to Berry Street between 6th and 7th Street into a two-way street.
City of Dayton, Kentucky, 2016, number 11. This ordinance rescinds City of Dayton ordinance 540.05, passed June 3rd, 1980. Rescinding the ordinance will turn Berry Street between 6th Avenue and 7th Avenue to a two-way street. That's your first reading.
This is the second reading of ordinance 2016-12, establishing service fees for the waste collection.
City of Dayton, Kentucky, 2016, number 12. This ordinance amends the City of Dayton Code of Ordinances 50.09 and 50.11 to establish service fees for waste debris and collection throughout the city. Unless exempted by way of personal contract with the waste collection service, property owners shall pay a sum of $128.16 yearly for waste collection.
I'd like to point out to council within this new ordinance, let me talk about the old ordinance. Section 2, for each business or commercial unit, they paid $183 per annum for fiscal years 2015 and 2016. Everybody's going to be paying the same rate with this ordinance. Before, we separated it out. Businesses had a higher rate. Now it's combined. Good. That's it, sir.
I have a quick comment. When we first started talking about this, I was extremely adamant about recycling being added into the program. With the cost savings that we have made with this deal with Republic, we have now a savings that makes up for that cost of recycling. If recycling is not included in this, I'd like to note that recycling is now, if you pay the same amount and get recycling if you just ask for it, correct? Mr. Gibbons? You're saying $3 a month. And how much is recycling?
Well, I think it was 3 something, but I've heard it's gonna jump to 5.
Can they grandfather that in? Get it?
Yeah, I think that'll be effective once they change it,
Okay.
I don't know what the current rate is. You can sign up through Republic directly and set up, your address and your information, your billing, and then you can contact the city and we'll give you a free tote to use, but you still have to set it up directly through the system. So you're subject to whatever fee they're charging. I've heard it's moving to 5.
Can we, and that's great because now it's, well, maybe not to jump 3 to 5 is not great, but the fact that we're saving money and folks can now, opt into that without really changing much money here. Can we streamline that process via the website to contact the city to move that process forward?
Yeah, so if it's not already, and I'm not sure if it is, we'll make sure we get something on there. For existing residents, new residents, there'll be a tab so they can understand the system.
So I had a neighbor the other day just say, how do I get into this? Because I think we see a lot higher people grow into this. Now that they're saving the money, it's more affordable and it's easy to access, and recycling is good for all.
On your suggestion, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, on your suggestion, we passed what I thought was a pretty aggressive nuisance ordinance earlier this year. And it has come to my attention and quite a few other council members that we may have some instances around town that I feel at least could be declared nuisance. Can you come up to the podium, sir, and explain to me who makes the decision on whether or not a property is?
Let's get him under his committee. Let's finish off with Tom first. Let's get down to that committee. They're all going to be coming up here as soon as we get done with Tom. They're all your department.
I can time to come up with an answer. Thank you, sir. That's all I have.
Okay. Next, we'll start with committee reports, and we'll start with Rick.
Okay.
Rick?
The nuisance ordinance that we patterned after Covington's and Newport's that we discussed and passed earlier this year. If a property, and who decides whether or not a property is declared a nuisance under that? Is that your decision, sir?
I think it would be Mr. Rich.
Well, no, that's not my decision. But what happens is essentially if Rich finds a violation, essentially once he has 3 citations, once he gets to that 3rd citation that he cites them for, he can declare them what's called that chronic nuisance. And at that point, essentially he cites them in a new citation as your chronic nuisance because of these 3 prior citations.
Is there a time limit on their citations, like how?
Within a year, if memory serves me.
That's something sort of.
But all 3 citations could be issued at the same time.
Technically,
Okay. And does the nuisance ordinance cover illegal activity also as part of that consideration?
yes, there's some legal activities that are covered under that with a probable cause finding, including, if I recall, disorderly conduct, menacing, several others that are property related.
Okay, so I get back to my question, Attorney Edge. Who makes that decision on whether to declare a nuisance?
Well, Rich will make the decision on whether to issue citation. Essentially, once he gets to 3, in his capacity, discretion, will make that decision on whether he wants to cite him again as a chronic nuisance.
Okay. That's what I wanted to clarify was the chain of command on that as far as.
Yeah, it all starts.
I'm not saying you're not doing your job, sir. The report looks great.
It all starts with him, then at that point, the citation, they'll get their notice. If they don't if they don't fix the problem, he's gonna probably issue a citation in most scenarios. He can, if he wants, just issue a citation right off the top. But then they have 7 days, of course, to pay or challenge it. If not, then it's.
Have you been getting many reports of code violations via the website form?
Not so many.
I could send them to you that way.
Since you stopped, not so many.
Spam filter. Oh, God. That's all I have, sir.
Yay, Rich?
Other than that, I'm working on the report to get it into an Excel so that you can make it whatever size you want. I think it was a PDF and it's easier. But I had the ability to make it Word or Excel. I can just make it to Excel that you can make it as big or as small as you want.
It'll allow us to sort it too. It'll allow us to sort it by property name, PIN, whatever.
At the mayor's suggestion, I'm going to start taking properties that have been abated, where the problem's been abated. So that if you've seen it on the report 1 month and it's been closed, you won't see it next. So that should be a standard.
Anyone else got any questions for Rich?
Can I ask a question?
Please?
Can I ask a question?
No comments at this time, sorry. Anything else, Rich?
That's all I have.
Anybody else got anything for Rich? Okay.
How's the software doing?
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah. It's a great tool, man. I did. Got it.
And your report looked great, guy. And it'll all be, all the blanks that you filled in.
Actually, I'm sorry. I do have one other question, sir. And I know putting out a list of vacant properties is dangerous, if you're in your stripping point. But can council get a copy of a list of vacant properties you have on record? Because
We don't have vacant, we have vacant and blighted. We're required to submit a list of vacant and blighted properties to the DDA beginning of every year. So if it's vacant, I don't have that necessarily on a list. We will have that as a list because of our new ordinance requiring people to register vacant properties. So we will have that by this time next year. It'll be hopefully a comprehensive list of all the vacant properties in the city. Right now, we have a list of all the vacant and blighted properties so that we can try to hire capture all those properties.
can you share that list at least with council?
It's public record.
Yeah, because 2016, number 7 that we passed is $100 a day for unregistered vacant properties. Doesn't mention anything about blighted on there, so I'm looking forward to seeing that list by the end of the year.
Blighted ones get extra.
Understood.
Will be a big incentive to occupy the properties when we charge $500 a building.
Thank you.
I've provided you with the economic development report of our CCAP, and we have 2 new sign applications that were approved, one for single badge design, the other one for 6th Avenue Salon. They're now with the county, and then they'll go on and put their signs in and get them up. We also have at 509, there's a videographer who is in the process of putting his business plan together. When he does, hopefully we'll be able to approve his business occupancy, and that will be another use of the CCAP money. I did put in with the economic development plan, I put in what the citizens in the Historic Preservation District need to know about the certificate of appropriateness. I wanted you all to have a copy of this because I've also put an article in the Dayton Community News about it, since we've had a lot of issues with people not knowing what they need to do as far as the historic district is concerned, and having things approved by the Board of Architectural Review. So that's part of my education process. I was hoping tonight that I could get the videos working, but unfortunately I can't. We do have a new homepage for the website. It makes it much easier for you to access the police non-emergency, the fire non-emergency. We have the forms in one spot. You click on it and it comes up, another page comes up, and boom, you've got your forms. There are a number of different changes to it. We have a new band that will go across the top for only breaking news such as the flooding we could have used it that day, but it was not live yet. So I encourage you all to check out the homepage. We are in the process of getting an estimate for revamping the rest of the website so that it becomes much more friendly, larger print, so that people can easily access every aspect of the city and be able to get to what they need to get to easily. Any questions?
I do have one question on the signage, and just so I'm right on this, 'cause a couple people have asked. They pay for it first, and then it's reimbursed, right?
That's correct.
But they need to get everything approved before they go buy anything, go purchase anything like that.
Right, so there's two types of approval that have to happen. First of all, is through our Board of Architectural Review. That's the first step. And then they have to go to the county and get a permit in order to put the sign up, because the county then checks to make sure that they're actually going by our ordinances and putting the signs where they need to be. And then they get the sign put up. Once the sign is up, they bring us an invoice and we cut them a check.
Anyone else?
On the certificate of appropriateness that was issued by the HARP.
The HARP?
Isn't it the BAR, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of a different group, by the Board of Architectural Review. Is that an actual certificate?
Yes.
Is that to be displayed in the window of the property, or much like a permit? I think one of the issues we run into is some of, and if you could put that in your guidelines, I think it would help. Because we've had instances in the past where somebody did the work over a weekend when the Main Street manager or nobody was working, and you come back on Monday and it's painted olive green, which wasn't approved. So if we could come up with some type of certificate so if an officer saw some work going on, he can double check for that over the weekend.
Sure. Yeah, we can do that. We can make sure that they have this. Anything else?
Two quick things. First of all, I've been cruising around the homepage. It looks great. I know that's not an easy process, so thank you very much for working an extremely important piece of communication for our city. Second of all, this is just for a promotional plug. Do you know when Hometown Heroes is opening?
Oh, no, that's on my list. Hometown Heroes is in the process of getting an approved hood, and once they get that, it's probably going to be a couple of weeks. Then they have to get final approval from the fire department.
Maybe within the next month we're watching?
It could be within the next month.
Gotcha.
I'm sorry, what did you?
Thank you.
Okay.
Chief Lockard.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. One thing I had to add to my report submitted to council, which was yesterday, I submitted that. I don't know if you guys are aware of Paddle Fest is this weekend. It's going to be coming through the city. I'm going to be down by Ludlow in Cincinnati. It's going to start at 7 in the morning, so it's going to go through really quick. So not a lot of you wouldn't be able to see that. They're looking at 1,500 registered paddlers this year. So we were involved with it last year with our boat, along with Dayton County Water Rescue, Cincinnati, Covington. So, and the river will be shut down to all other vessels during this time. The only thing I have to add is our next fire board meeting is August 17th, 6 p.m. And that'll be a conversation. Is there any questions on my report submitted to council? I think we will be voting that night on the roof. So it's like 2 weeks away, so it's not too far away, so we've got taken care of it.
Chief, I have one question for you. On this report you gave us, can you tell us about, are we running about the same as we last year? Are we up, down?
It's funny you asked that. I just met with Medicount, our building department for ALS service. In the last three and a half years we've been with them, every year it's been between 50 and 30 time off, but it stays the same. So yeah. So
we're about the same.
It's staying the same. We pick up a lot of patients and they pass or move, and someone else kind of comes into the area, and we pick those runs back up. It seems like just how it works. Newport, Covington, Port Thomas. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Chief Apple.
As
just two things. Just want to congratulate Tony Baldwin. He was promoted from sergeant to lieutenant. Effective July 22nd. So I just want to congratulate Tony. You guys have my stats, and I usually put them on Facebook for the community to see. So those will be posted sometime tomorrow. And just with recent events going on in our country, the outpouring of the community through the city of Dayton has been really well. Food, hometown heroes, delivering pizza to us, or I had a call the other day. He had, I don't remember, he had a bunch of chicken. So just cards and community reaching out, churches, just gift bags, cards, and just stuff like that. It's just well appreciated. I just want to give my thanks to the city of Dayton community as well. Well appreciated.
Thank you, Chief.
Hey, Chief, didn't we have an officer that won an award here a couple weeks ago?
The safety?
Yeah, the safety.
The safety award, yeah. He wasn't able to attend that award, but every year the state puts on the Click It or Ticket, and Officer Powers received the award for the city of Dayton. They're in River City News and some other outlets, I think. So just their thanks of making sure we had safe drivers out there. So Brian Powers was the recipient from the city of Dayton.
Donna, any communication? Any committee reports, finance, member Lynn is out to a park board convention. Public safety, member Gifford.
I don't have anything to list on.
Public works, member Burns. No report. Parks and real estate, member Tucker.
Correct me if I'm wrong, they're still accepting bids for the bathroom.
Yes, it'll be until August 12th at 5 p.m. and they can turn them into city building.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Personnel and training, member Neary.
No report, sir.
Thank you, sir. Economic development.
Nothing to report, sir.
Any petitions? Anyone have any petitions? Any citizens? Okay. Unfinished business?
I do, sir.
Go ahead.
Last year, I spent a lot of time and a lot of my personal time and a lot of money getting it printed up for that traffic study for the northwest part of Dayton, from Irvin Terrace West and 6 North. With the apartments or condos, whatever they're going to call them, coming online at the bottom of Walnut. If anybody needs another copy of that, let me know, because that's going to come on the radar real quick. And I asked Michael, has there been any discussion with the Kentucky Transportation Department yet for their input on making Irvin two-way? Because I know how slow they move, and once they start building down there, that's going to be a bottleneck.
The last thing I think I relayed to you all was, they said just tell them when, and they'll do a count or study. I don't know how detailed it would be. That's valid, all the information that we give. I'm having discussions. I've got a meeting this week with Newport, Bellevue, and Dayton about Route 8, but the conversations, we're at the end. We're subject to what happens there, and if nothing changes in between, we're going to be spilling all that out on the Route 8. But I have thrown out recommendations, and I've gotten approval for funding for my recommendations. But with all the things that are being delayed in the Transportation Department, those studies aren't coming for another 3 or 4 years, so we're still a long ways away from any major changes to Route 8.
Well,
And
my point being,
that intersection.
my point being, I think we need a baseline. I mean, we have a study from, I think, 8 years ago.
We've got a study from 2013, I think was the one.
2013. Can you reshare that with all the council? I may have lost my copy of it. Everything eastbound is getting squeezed down onto that 400 block of Fourth, which is like this wide. So the sooner we can get it started to be prepared for the influx of the problems, I think the better off, rather than waiting until they occur.
Yeah, I think O'Fallon and really, it's going to be this conversation that we had, not really on the terrace, but Walnut. Those are going to be the 2 exits that they take. They're either going to come up Walnut, or they're going to come up down off Manhattan Boulevard on O'Fallon. Some of them may take back roads to Urban Terrace if it was available, but I don't think so.
I'm talking about homes in the 200, and 300, and 400 block that would be, from 60.
Oh, I think we all
that would
agree.
be able to have an additional way to
No, I
get
think we
out
all
and turn
agree that
left.
there could be a benefit to that, but they said just, hey, you tell me yes, and I'll turn around and tell them we would like some counts and some studies that we said to do. They're just waiting.
So can I tell you yes, or does it take a council vote, or what?
I take a motion. I take a motion.
I'd like to make a motion then that city administration get in touch with Kentucky Department of Transportation, or Transportation Cabinet, excuse me, to do a full study on all of Route 8 coming through town from O'Fallon all the way out to the end of Fourth, so that we can get a baseline for a traffic impact. And also to be included in that study, their recommendations on the Walnut Street and Urban Terrace. I read the study, I just don't remember where I put it, but they measured everything on 6th Avenue, okay, on Route 8. I'm talking about all the traffic coming from the side streets and along 4th and 5th
I don't
and
think they're
3rd.
gonna, I can ask, but I don't know if they.
They don't get that granular?
I don't know.
Can they measure the cars that are coming onto 6th from those side intersections?
Yeah, yes.
That's what I think we need, that's my point.
I mean, they could measure it from Walnut, but you couldn't measure it from Urban Terrace because it's
They would
one way.
they would make a recommendation based on those numbers, if they're seeing a lot of people go to Walnut, or if they're seeing a lot of people on the upper side, going and traveling off Walnut to Urban Terrace or something, they'd be able to tell that, who's turning on or from Urban Terrace, South Urban Terrace, on the Route 8. Where are they going? Are they going north, are they going west, east?
I'll amend my motion, and I'd like to make the motion that city administrator contact Kentucky Transportation Cabinet and ask for a study to be done on the north and south accesses to Route 8. That would be O'Fallon all the way down to Boone or.
Route 8 turns down?
Yeah.
It turns down to Hampton, which is Clay.
No, I'm
Well,
sorry,
it's
further
the whole
east.
city.
You know, when we put the Berry Street in.
See, I was focused.
Okay, let's go to Clay, because that's where it turns down, yeah. But I want to know what traffic's coming off the side streets, not just on Route 8.
I was I was contacted over the weekend about a problem down in the alley between 3rd and 4th on Kent. There's a couple of vehicles parked in that alley. Police officers took care of it, but what they told the police officers was that alley has been closed. And I do not recall that alley ever being closed, so could you verify that it's been closed or not closed?
I talked to Officer Sherwood today. On the spot, I was not aware, and on any maps, it doesn't show. So I'll get with Tom, I'll get with Donna, we'll look back through the records and see if we can find any information.
You're sending Kenton to Benham?
Yeah, I know where,
Yeah.
he showed me where it was.
Yeah.
He showed me where it was, yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Good.
The Sergeant Park is handled, I know, separately from Park Board. Who is on the Sergeant Park Board? I believe it's yourself and Mrs. Ledger, and I think Mr. Tucker? Okay. I've been down in Sergeant Park quite a bit, as Donna will tell you. There's some walking paths down there that are overgrown and everything. The honeysuckles have absolutely taken over. There's no undergrowth whatsoever, which I think is leading to some pretty heavy erosion and fast runoff that's going down the Covert Run. Fort Thomas, I forget what they call their board, not the tree board or whatever, but they actually formed a task force behind the fort there for the walking paths and everything to attack the honeysuckle problem and clear some of this stuff out. They did that with the Extension Office, the Fort Thomas Forest Conservancy. And I think if we were to, I would like the board, the Sergeant Park Board, let's make up like a 6-month plan of what we could do with Sergeant Park. It's a beautiful, that could be a beautiful 22 acres on that south-facing hillside. It can't be built on, it can't be developed by agreement from the original landowner. But I think that could be a huge asset to the community there.
I agree with you, and we are gonna put them on, Tina's working on that right now, to get that on our website, photos, stuff like that, to start marketing more than what it was. It's just, a lot of people don't even know about it.
Our park board tries to refer people if we can't give them a private thing down there.
Right.
And they have been referring people to Sergeant Park, and they don't know. So this is a good time to do something.
Yeah, I'm not talking about just the cleared out area down
No,
below on
right,
Cooper
it's a
Run. I'm
nice
talking
park.
all the way up to Lynn Drive there. That could, there's
It's a beautiful
pathways
park.
there already that if they were cleared out.
We actually had a haunted trail there several years back.
Yeah, I understand that.
And it was a very big success, but the point is, no one knows enough about it, and we need to advertise it more.
Well, and that's why I'd like the Sergeant Park Board to really come up with a 6-month plan on that and what we could do with the park. Really, like I said, it's 22 acres, the city owns it, probably 19 of it sitting there doing nothing. Yes, sir.
Anyone else?
I forgot something, Mayor, and I apologize. Don't want to be too windy. But someone brought to my attention, down to the corner of 4th and Kenton, there is a very large hole over the sidewalk. It's got a barrel over it. That's part of the barrel. That's part of the barrel.
I've talked to Rick about this today, and I think Michael talked to him about it today. We just found out about this. With a picture. I mean, these people call for the whole lot. But anyway, he does not have a catch basin that big. He get with sanitation department. It got with them to find out if he could get one that would fit that hole, and we're gonna rebuild that.
We got to do that immediately. That would fit a man with a child.
I understand it, like I said, I just found out about this.
Okay, can we put something over other than a rubber gasket?
Yeah, I mean, we could.
I could build
I mean,
something.
they got photos saying they moved it, I think, hopefully since then. It's supposed to be covered, I'm assuming they, wall it.
Right. Have you seen? It's,
But we are working on that.
it's got to be immediate.
Is there something over it now?
We just find out about it.
Is there something over it now besides this?
No,
barrel?
barrel has to be.
It's over.
They moved the barrel back.
We don't,
Yeah, I mean,
we don't have any
well,
supposed to place us.
We don't have a plate.
Don't go around
We
the
need to
barrel.
get the right one.
it's easy to tell me not to go around the barrel. I won't go around the barrel. But a 6-year-old might be a little bit more adventurous than me.
We just found out. And I did. And I talked to Rick, so Rick knows quite tripped over it, then you're liable for.
Somebody tripped over the barrel there.
I understand it, but I'm saying you put plots.
It's a caution barrel. Caution, don't go by the barrel.
I just think we could be doing a better job than barrel, or wait till we get.
But we just found out about it today.
But it's been on social media for,
I know what it's social media, you know that. If someone was thinking of it, I'd be more than happy to look at it and get it handled, but I don't do social media. It's there, it's there.
it's a great way that people are talking about the city, and we need to pay attention to this.
If you get one of them, send it to me, and I'll
Just
take
did.
care of it. Anything else?
That's all I got, Mike.
I have a special events application from the organization Skyward Center for Great Neighborhoods. And is Beth Nyman here?
Yes, yes.
Beth, you want to just talk a little bit about what it's for?
Name,
Okay.
address.
Beth Neiman, 625 10th Street. I applied for a Skyward grant a couple weeks ago and got it for $250. The point of those grants is to be imaginative in creating opportunities to create community involvement. So we talked about storytelling and how that might be a way that people here can meet new people. There are a lot of factions in Dayton, and if you're nervous, and if you're new here, it's hard to meet people if you're not a member of the school or sports or whatever they know about that new people don't know about that pool. So kind of a new way to just sit down, kick back, have a blanket, and just listen to maybe 6 Dayton residents tell any kind of story they want. New resident, old residents, whoever. So I'm trying to gather names and gather stories, and we would have an intermission with pizza, popcorn, water, and that's about it. So I don't know what to expect, but I thought it might be fun.
When?
Family, August 18th from 7 to 8:30. Monument Park.
Why do we need a special events application for this?
She wants to have it up at the park, and usually most people that go to the monument.
Oh, the
So,
6th and Berry Park.
Yes, 6th and Berry Park from 7 to 8:30, most people go up to the special event.
I'll make the motion to approve the application.
All right, motion by Joe,
Second.
second by Jerry, all in favor?
Aye.
So ordered.
Thank you.
Okay. Next thing is the senior citizen picnic. Good, Nicole, give me time.
I called the county, and there's going to be September 22nd this year, so I would like to have our picnic on September 14th, and I have not called the VSW yet, and usually that's not a problem. I'd like to have it on September 14th with the VSW.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Jerry,
I second that.
Joey, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
What day of the week is that, Donna?
It's a Wednesday.
Anyone else have any more new business? We need no executive session. I need a motion from council to adjourn.
I'll make that motion, sir.
Motion by Joe,
Seconded.
second by Gary, all in favor?
Aye.
So ordered. We're adjourned.